Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Timmy Treacle, also known as Horror Fan for Life. And this evening I decided to do another movie review of one of my favorite movies. Now, this movie is what's called a parody. Parody is when they spoof other movies. In this case, this is the slasher horror genre that this film is going to be parodying. Most notably, Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, amongst other movies. Uh, the movie I'm referring to is Scary Movie. This movie was released on July 7th, 2000. It is a slasher parody that received mixed reviews from critics. Cinema Score has an average grade of a B-. It has a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 90% on Google. Despite the mixed reviews, on a $19 million budget, it made $278 million at the box office. It was directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans and written by and starring Shawn and Marlon Wayans, Anna Faris, John Abrams, Dave Sheridan, Regina Hall, Shannon Elizabeth, Lachlan Monroe, Sherry O'Terry, and Carmen Electra. Now, this movie starts off with the parody of Scream, where you have Drew Decker, played by Carmen Electra. If you remember from the movie Scream, it was Drew Barrymore, which I absolutely love, but that's for another time. Carmen Electra does a great job doing the parody. The Wayans brothers are known for comedy. They did In Living Color in the early 1990s for 5 seasons. It was freaking hilarious. When I heard that they were going to be doing this parody, I was so excited for this. Me and a whole bunch of my friends went to the theaters to watch this, and it was a blast. Leading off with that opening scene with Carmen Electra on the phone with the guy, the Ghostface Killer, and they're asking him. They ask her what is her favorite scary movie, and she's like Kazam. You know, when Shaq plays a genie, and yeah, that's just freaking hilarious to start the movie off with that. And as the movie goes on, we see more and more of the parody of Scream. They're chasing her in the yard. He stabs her in the boob, pulls out a breast implant, which is freaking hilarious. Earlier on in the scene, she has a choice of a weapon, and she ends up taking a banana, that's just classic slapstick kind of material there. So she's eventually killed, and we go into and we meet the other characters of this movie. We have Cindy Campbell, played by Anna Faris, who is fantastic in this movie. You have Bobby, played by John Abrams. Shorty, played by Marlon Wayans. You have Brenda, played by Regina Hall. You have Ray, played by Shawn Wayans. Buffy, played by Shannon Elizabeth. Greg, played by Lachlan Monroe. You have Gail Hailstorm, played by Sherry O'Terry, who is supposed to be betraying Courtney Cox's character from Scream, which is just fantastic. This movie has a great cast, a great young cast. This is our introduction pretty much to Anna Faris in this movie, and she's fantastic. I love what they do with this movie. They also parody other films such as The Matrix, Usual Suspects, Blair Witch Project, The Shining, and Sixth Sense. The writing and directing is spot on, and I cannot believe this movie has only a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's just crazy. This movie is so hysterical. Unless you haven't seen the movies that they're making fun of, then this should be just laugh out loud, tears just flowing because it's so funny. I love the characters. One of my favorites, though, is portrayed by Dave Sheridan, who plays Special Officer Doofy. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, he's the killer in the movie, too. Uh, but Special Officer Doofy is making fun of uh, officer in the Scream franchise. You know who it is. And if you haven't seen the movie, well, that's just too bad. But you know who he's making fun of. Um, I love one of my favorite scenes is when he goes out to answer the phone after Cindy has talked to the killer, and he drags out the vacuum, and part of the vacuum is still in his uh, uh, underwear, and he says, "I told you not to disturb me when I'm cleaning my room," and it's that's one of the funniest scenes in the movie. I mean, this movie is filled with great scenes, but that's one of my favorites. Uh, and then Shannon Elizabeth's talking head in this movie is freaking great after she gets her head cut off when she's killed. The locker room scene with Greg, played by Lachlan Monroe. They take a picture of his penis and it's really small. It's so freaking hilarious. Uh, but this movie uh, stands on its own as one of the best parody films and one of the great films, in my opinion, of the 2000s. And yeah, this is what started a trend of some great parody movies. There are 5 movies in this franchise in total. The first 4 movies I love. I love all of them, except for number 5. I really wish they would have left this alone. Um, Even though there were 7 years between number 4 and number 5, I really wish they just would have not made any more. It would have been perfect. Uh, but this franchise as a whole is really successful. The 5 movies have a total budget of 177 million, and all 5 movies brought in 896.5 million at the box office. Of course, the original making the most. Uh, the movie that made the second most was actually part 3, which was surprising, but still. I love the first 4 movies. I wasn't a fan of the 5th one. I watched it one time, and I don't know. It didn't have the same characters from the original movies, and that was kind of a letdown. Uh, and the material they were working with in number 5 was good because it's paranormal activity, and those movies were starting up, but it just didn't have the same feeling. The writing wasn't as good either. Uh, and the Rotten Tomato scores for these movies, I just ridiculous how low they are, especially part 2, where they're parodying some great classic movies, and I don't understand uh, the low percentage on Rotten Tomatoes. But despite all that, though, these movies have been box office hits, and the first movie has a large cult following, which is to be expected. Uh, but the original Scary Movie will always go down as one of the best parody films of all time. I put it up there with Airplane, Hot Shots, The Naked Gun, you know, uh, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Spaceballs, just to name some. Uh, but yeah, I love Scary Movie. I love the characters. The casting is perfect. The writing and directing is on point. And this is just a fun slasher movie. And yeah, I have a blast with this movie. And I love the franchise as a whole, with the exception of the 5th one. But other than that, I gave the first movie a 10 out of 10. And I stand by that grade. I love this movie. Uh, The other grades for the other movies, I don't have right offhand. I didn't look up. But for the first movie, it's a 10 out of 10. So in the comment section below, give me your thoughts and opinions not only on Scary Movie, but as a franchise as a whole. And let me know which one is your favorite. For me, it is the original one. If I was to do a quick ranking of these movies, pretty much you would just have them in order and go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 being my least favorite, number 1 being my favorite. So, uh, other than that, in the comment section below, give me your ranking of all 5 movies if you've seen all 5. And like I said, tell me which one is your favorite. Do you think this franchise is overrated? Let me know. Let's have a great discussion about it. But other than that, I thank you guys for watching yet another movie review. Stay tuned for many more movie reviews, TV show reviews, trailer reviews, top 10s, and rankings. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you like this review, hit that like button. But I thank you guys for watching, and check you later.